if people knew how hard I had to work to gain my mastery, it would not seem so wonderful at all. Michelangelo Buonarroti. When most of us get started on our art journeys, we're held back by limiting beliefs that keep us from making the progress we have it in us to make. I've heard it all or thought it myself early on as well. Things like, I'm too old to get started with art, or my time and effort creating will never amount to anything, or I'll never be able to reach a high skill level, or if I choose to become an artist, I'll starve, or these mess-ups must mean that I'm not meant to be an artist. And of course, amazing artists were born talented. All of these are total lies. These are all false narratives that our brains keep coming back to because creating art and improving our skills is challenging. It takes stepping out of our comfort zones and accepting the fact that we're going to be making plenty of mistakes for a while, just like when we're learning any other skill. It takes embracing the awkwardness, the messiness, and the self-doubt as part of the learning process. Growth is uncomfortable for everyone. And because we naturally seek comfort and safety as human beings, it's easy to come up with all sorts of reasons why we shouldn't try something new or push forward to the next level. Here's an important reminder, friend. Those artists you admire struggle with unsupportive thoughts and resistance too. They just don't let any of that stop them from taking consistent action toward their goals. No one is born knowing how to draw or paint. Learning these skills may come more easily to people who were born with keen observational skills or the ability to focus on or understand topics that are directly or indirectly related to art, or when they've grown up in environments that fostered art and creativity, such as having artist parents or a family that appreciates art. However, no one becomes an expert at anything without putting in the practice, and no one achieves lasting success without working hard over a long period of time. In their article, The Myth of Talent, authors Erikson and Poole mention that experts in any field become knowledgeable by improving their skills and knowledge steadily over years and even decades of practice. They state that with the right kind of practice and guidance, people can improve in any area they wish to improve in. The authors also explain that if you investigate the development of child prodigies like Mozart, you'll find their parents started them in training at a very young age, and they began performing after several years of consistent, focused practice. Famous artists such as Pablo Picasso and Andrew Wyeth had artist fathers working around them since they were very, very young, and these mentors guided them as they started on their journeys. It's no surprise they were able to create amazing artwork at very young ages. In all of these cases, knowledge about art and artistic sensibilities and even technical skills were passed on from masters to children at ages at which most of us are still learning to talk properly or are more worried about whether we'll be receiving the latest toys for Christmas. We all know examples of these amazing people who have popped up throughout history, artists, musicians, scientists, etc., who were or are perceived as geniuses from afar. Some of them, I'm sure, were born with certain traits that helped. However, it was their focus and their hard work sustained over time which allowed them to become highly skilled and achieve what they were able to achieve. The most dangerous thing about the myth of talent is that it leads to all sorts of excuses to not even try, or makes people want to give up way too easily. It makes you believe that you're limited by your genetics, and it leads to a fixed mindset as opposed to a growth mindset, which is something that I've talked about before. I'll make sure to link to a video where I explain what these are down below in the text section of this post. And I'll also link to Carol Dweck's TED Talk on the growth versus fixed mindset. Having a strong, supportive mindset that serves you is, I think, very important for artists and creatives. And having a growth mindset is essential, in my opinion. So do make sure to check out those videos if you haven't already. Another thing that is important to mention is that by simply stating or thinking that someone is able to create amazing art just because they were born talented, we are disregarding the immense amount of effort and work that they've put in to get to where they're at. We are in a way cheapening the work and the learning that has to take place in order for an artist to reach a high skill level. We are cheapening and devaluing the work that we have to put in as artists. And honestly, I feel we are devaluing art as a whole. All of this is why, in my opinion, persistence, grit, dedication, passion for what we're doing is always going to matter more than any kind of talent that someone may have been born with. That is, if such a thing as talent even exists. There's still a lot of research being done on this topic. But here's what I do believe. I believe every single one of us is born with this unique mishmash of interests, abilities, and character traits. There is no one else in the entire world that is exactly like you, that has this same mishmash of characteristics, that has been through your same experiences, that has been influenced and affected by the same group of people. And it is my belief that it is actually more of a nature and nurture situation where those things that we were born with and all of these life experiences that we've been through make us who we are. It's not one or the other. And most importantly, there is another key thing that makes us who we are. And this thing, in my opinion, is what matters most in terms of arriving at a happy, fulfilled life. And yes, also arriving at that skill level that you want to get to as an artist. And this is our choices, the things that we do proactively in order to arrive at that life that we want to live, at that skill level that we want to get to. See, we don't choose the character traits, good or bad, that we were born with. And we also don't necessarily choose many of the experiences that we go through in life, whether good or bad. But we do get to choose what we do with these experiences. And all of this ties back to this idea of people being able to create great art because they were born talented. That means they were born lucky, and it was a passive thing, a gift that was somehow given to them and not to us. By choosing to think this way, we are taking away our own power and disregarding our own personal gifts. This is not helpful at all. It's not going to allow you to achieve your personal best. So honor yourself and honor this process of discovering those unique gifts that you were given. And once you discover them, value them enough and respect them enough to make the active choice to hone those gifts. Thank you so very much for listening today. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any experiences of your own to share, please go ahead and leave them down below in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your art practice and see you very soon.